Hello, John Bloodworth, Gentleman Crafter here with card layout number 49. Can you believe it? Anyway, this is the layout and the card. This is the layout itself. And here are some of the bits that I've assembled. Can't guarantee I'm going to use them all, but these are the things that I kind of put together that sort of worked together. So as you've seen, I've got ink pads, I've got stencils, ink, and these are the papers that I chose to use, and they are from this 12 by 12 collection by Stamperia. Lots of lovely patterns going on there. Right, time to start making stuff. So I'm actually going to make the card itself from one of the sheets. So I'm cropping down an 8 by 6 inch piece, and then I will score that in half. And that's the card done. So next up, time to start chopping my strips down. First one's going to be from a plain cardstock, which I think I might add a pattern to later. In fact, here's a secret. I know I will. That's the beauty of voicing these over afterwards. I know exactly what's going to happen. Not entirely sure I know what I was thinking at the time, though. Anyway, chopping down the next bit from one of the patterned paper sheets. And then I need the circle bit, and I decided to make this a bit of a focal point of the card. So I thought the unicorn from the strip would be a good idea. I marked either side of the die and then chopped the paper down to fit, and then shoved it through the die cutting machine. There we go. There's Mr. Unicorn. Or Mrs. I'm not sure. I can't see the bit that would help me understand that. Okay, thinking fingers wiggling away. Time to start stamping the sentiment, I think. Now, I thought I was going to do it in silver. However, as you see, my silver ink pad appears not to have any ink left on it. So I reached for the black VersaFine and stamped that out with delicate stampy fingers. Always a good idea to clean your stamps off before you put them away. Can't say that I do it every time, but it's a good idea. Now, I mentioned adding some patterning to that plain coloured cardstock, so I reached for this very large stamp, which I think came from Hero Arts. I could be wrong. And what I was doing with the ink pads there was just trying out different inks on a scrap of the coloured cardstock to see which would kind of work. And I ended up deciding that actually a clear embossing ink would give me a nice watermarked effect. So I inked up the stamp, pressed the paper on it, and there we go. That actually looks quite good. Might use that again in a future video. You never know. Just drying that pigment ink off with the heat tool and then sticking it down with the bookbinding glue. Again, I prefer to use this because it doesn't warp the papers. So even though I'm using a lightweight scrapbooking paper for the main card, it actually doesn't warp it, unlike you would with a regular liquid PVA. Now, I decided to get rid of the white edges from this cropped down piece of paper by putting some chalk ink on the edge. And then when I turned it over, I thought actually the other side works much better. So I went with it. That's my two main panels done. Now, Mr. Unicorn. I was thinking that he just wasn't working. And when I get the sentiment down, I'm not sure he would actually work. So I decided to crop the sentiment down just to really see in place whether it would work or not. Now, although I've done measurements for the different sections, obviously feel free to adapt these for whatever you're using. So if your sentiment doesn't quite fit the strip that I planned out on the layout, change it. It's up to you. It's your card. You do whatever you like. The layout, by the way, which I haven't mentioned, oddly, this far into the video, is available for download from the blog, gentlemancrafter.com. A link is available in the description below the video, so feel free, go and grab it. They're sized to fit 6x4 papers, by the way, so that's a standard photo size. So if you wanted to print them out and store them in a photo album for future use, there's a tip for you. Now, because I didn't like Mr. Unicorn, I was looking for other embellishments that I could use, and I thought actually this little fairy with the butterfly would reflect the sentiment better. And she was on a sheet of the paper as well, and I thought I might be able to decoupage it up. So I cropped that out too, and then die cut the circle. Yes, that does work better. I could even move the sentiment around, but I don't think I'm going to. Now, what I didn't realise was those pictures are two different sizes, so they wouldn't work very well as decoupage. However, the butterfly wing was just about right, so I thought I would crop that out and give it some shape and then stick it on once I've finished the card. When it came to the sentiment, I thought there was a bit too much white space, top and bottom. So I decided that I would actually chop that down, and also I felt that the circular embellishment wasn't standing out enough from the card. So I looked at creating another layer from either patterned paper or, as I finally decided, from coloured cardstock. Not quite big enough to fit the die, but that was fine because I was going to stick it at the edge of the card. Like that. Ta-da! Yes, that works much better. So here I am chopping down that sentiment because I felt that there was just too much white space going on. Like I said, feel free to adapt any of these layouts. They're serving suggestions rather than hard and fast rules. And of course, if you want to upscale this to a 5x7 card or some other different format, feel free. It's a loose positioning of bits and pieces, so you can adapt it to many, many different card shapes and sizes. Just chopping off that little bit of extra from the side. There we go, yes, that's going to work. Layering that up with foam pads. Quite a lot of foam pads. And there we go. Now for the sentiment, so I would need to layer up the outside edge as it's going to sit flush with the embellishment, not with the card. There we go. And then to finish, I'm going to pop on a couple of liquid drops or Nuvo drops. And here's a quick tip. If you make a boob, get it off quick while it's still wet, and it won't actually colour or stain or anything your card. And there you go. A couple of dots finishes it off nicely. If you've any questions, thoughts or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments. In the meantime, thanks for watching. That's it for this time. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And for more from me in the future, please remember to subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.